Just a reminder to vote in this week's Locals poll, where you decide what deck I take to Locals every single week. Without any further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and for today we have the profile for the deck we took to Locals this past week, being Shiranui. Ultimately, it went about as well as I expected. We didn't have a tournament due to low attendance. Some of the guys with like work schedules and all that haven't been able to make it recently, which is all well and fine. But we did play one match against Sharks. We did ultimately lose, but we did take a game off of him, which is honestly actually kind of better than I expected. But yeah, so without any further ado, here's a look to what it looks like on paper, then we'll get to the card by card. Alright, so starting off with the monsters, 2 copies of Shiranui Samurai. So this guy, well, basically almost all of the, pretty much all of the non-tuner main deck Shiranuis have 2 effects. There's an on-field effect and then an effect when banished. So his on-field effect is you can banish 1 zombie monster from your graveyard as a quick effect to make him gain 600 attack, and also banish any monster that battles him after damage calc. And then when he's banished, you get to add a Shiranui monster from your grave back to your hand. Next, 3 copies of Shiranui Squire. This is one of your main normal summons, because when it's normal summon, you can special summon a Shiranui Spectral Sword monster. The Spectral Swords are the tuners. So basically, you get one of your tuners from the deck. And then also you're locked into zombies, but that's not really going to matter. Then if this card is banished, you can draw 1, then discard 1. So yeah, Squire's pretty good. This is one of the more recent support cards from Savage Strike. Ultimately, more support is needed, but that was certainly a step in the right direction. Next, 3 copies of Shiranui Spirit Master. So when this one is normal summoned, you can special summon a zombie, or excuse me, a Shiranui specifically from your hand or grave, but is banished when it leaves the field. And then if this guy gets banished, you get to pop a face-up card on the field. Next, 2 copies of Shiranui Smith. So this one, this one's actually kind of different because its effect is when it's sent from the field to the grave a synchro material, you get to search for any Shiranui card, and then if it gets banished, you can make it to where your Shiranuis can't be destroyed by battle this turn. And then next is, of course, the most famous one of all, being Shiranui Solitaire. So you can tribute a zombie monster as cost to special summon a zombie tuner with 0 defense from your deck. Then if he's banished, you can target a banished Shiranui except for himself. Or you can do 2 if Shiranui Style Synthesis is on the field, but that's not really going to come up to special summon them. So basically when he gets banished, he's kind of a reborn from the banished. So that's always nice. Next is our level 3 tuner, Shiranui Spectral Sword Shade. So this one is, you can tribute this card to target 2 banished zombie monsters, except for Shade, and special summon them with their effects negated. And then you're locked into zombies. So this is decent for getting certain synchro plays. And then of course he's level 3 tuner, so you can go into your level 7. Next is your main tuner, being Shiranui Spectral Sword, running 3 of it. So basically, during the turn that it wasn't sent to the grave, you can target another zombie monster in your grave, banish both it and this card to special summon a zombie synchro from your extra deck, whose whose level is equal to the combined level of the banished monsters. And that's basically all that one does. I mean, it is a level 2 tuner, so you can, do stuff with that anyways. But this is kind of your main tuner. Last monster 1 copy of Shiranui Swordmaster. Honestly, this one's just kind of a win more card. You mainly just play it to do its banish effect to pump something up by 600. I mean, it does have another effect where if it's in your grave and you have 2 or more Shiranuis on the field with different names, you can special summon it. So that can help with like link monsters and stuff, but usually that's not really going to come up that much. Alright, so that's it for the monsters. Now let's go to the spells. The only Shiranui spell we're running is 3 copies of this, because the other in the archetype spells are absolutely terrible, unfortunately. I like to try to keep things as pure as possible, but I just couldn't justify running, like, say, Shiranui style synthesis because of the way it's worded and the way it's ruled in Japan. You actually have to have the monster in your grave before you can discard, so that makes it way more difficult to use than it should be. But yeah, so this one, if your opponent has a monster on the field, you can discard a zombie monster, special summon a Shiranui monster with a different name from your deck or grave, and then you're locked into zombies. Unfortunately, because I actually won the die roll of the match, I wanted to go first because I wanted to try to set up Zombie World or even another card later that we'll get to try to really screw with my opponent. But I kept drawing this card, so I couldn't use it. So that was kind of a big sad moment. Next, 2 copies of Zombie Reborn. So basically you target a zombie in your grave, banish a monster with the same name from your deck or extra deck, and if you do, special summon that targeted monster to your field. So it's a Reborn plus a banish to get their extra effect. So that's really nice. And if it's in your grave, you can shuffle a banished zombie into the grave or into the deck to set this card from your grave, but then banish it when it leaves the field. So it's a recurable Reborn spell. You can only use 1 effect that turn, and only once that turn. So it is a tad bit on the slow side, but the advantage you can get off of it isn't that bad. So, I'll take it. Next, this was one of the changes I put in from the last build, being 2 copies of Zombie Necronize. And after taking it to locals, I mean, to be fair, it was only 1 match, so I'll have to do more experimentation with it, I guess. But even in the online matches that I played to get ready for locals, this card never really came up. If it was in my hand, it just kind of sat there, because there was never like a really good situation to activate it, so I might take this out. Even though it has absolutely sick artwork. They should make this into a playmat if they haven't already. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to cut this one, because it says if a level 5 or higher zombie monster is on the field, target 1 monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end phase. And then it has the same thing as Zombie Reborn, where you can shuffle a banished zombie into the deck to set this, but banish when it leaves the field, and you can only use 1 effect per turn once that turn. So yeah, I think I'm probably going to cut this card. As much as I want to like it, it just, I don't know, it just never really came up. And it just seemed to kind of sit dead in my hand, unfortunately. Next, 2 copies of Call of the Mummy. I might bump this up to 3 to help get rid of Zombie Necronize. I'll probably do a 3rd Call the Mummy and then a Foolish Burial, because I'm actually not running Foolish Burial in this one. I probably should be, so that's probably what I'll do. But anyways, you can special summon a zombie monster from your hand if you have no monsters on your field. So this is good for going 1st or 2nd. Try to help get some of your synchro plays up. Next, 3 copies of Zombie World. So all monsters on the field and grave become zombies. This can kind of help mess with your opponent. Like, I know one of the practice matches I played was against Adagnister, and I was able to stick this going 1st, and so their plays were very, very limited because they needed cybers instead of zombies. So yeah, that was nice. And then there's a little cheeky thing in the extra deck we can do, but we'll get to that later. So yeah, Zombie World. It's nice to try to mess with our opponent. Next, limited spells, 1 gold Sark. We would definitely run more of this if it was allowed, but it's only limited to 1. One reasoning, because there are a few different levels, or, at worst, it's kind of a pseudo Foolish Burial. And then, of course, 1 terraforming to search the field spell. I'm probably going to add Foolish Burial, like I mentioned earlier. Probably going to add that. Next, moving on to the traps. 3 copies of Shiranui style Swallow Slash. So basically, this is like an Icarus attack on steroids, because you contribute a zombie type monster, then target 2 cards on the field and destroy them, then banish 1 Shiranui monster from your deck. So basically what you do is you tribute a monster, pop 2, banish Spirit Master, pop a 3rd. So this becomes a 2 for 3. And if you actually read carefully, now I haven't researched the ruling on this, so if someone watching this video actually does know the ruling on this, let me know before I get the time to research it, but it just says tribute 1 zombie type monster. It doesn't say tribute a zombie type monster you control. So I think you might actually be able to sacrifice your opponent's monsters to do that too. I'll have to do some research on that. But if that is the case, then that's absolutely busted. Next, 1 Shiranui style Samsara. So basically, it becomes Shiranui style Synthesis while in the spell and trap zone. That is negligible though. That's not why we run it. Basically, you have 2 effects that you can activate. You can only do 1 per turn though. And then you can either banish a face-up zombie you control to where you take no damage for the rest of the turn, even if this card leaves the field. And then, of course, that procs some of your banish effects. Or you can target 2 your banished zombie monsters with 0 defense, shuffle them into the deck, and draw a card. So yeah, that's just kind of a way to help play the long game a little bit. And then final card in the main deck, 1 Rivalry of Warlords, because we are running Zombie World. So being able to just lock them into zombies, so nothing from hand, nothing from extra deck, is just really nice. It feels really, really good when you're able to stick that and just watch your opponent cry. Like, their soul literally leaves their body when you flip Rivalry and you have Zombie World up, so that's always really, really nice. So yeah, that's it from the main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck. So first, we are actually running 1 Doolittle Chimera. It's just a generic fire support card. It just pumps all your fire monsters up by 500, and then you get to recur a fire monster from your grave with 1500 or less attack whenever it dies. Next is 1 copy of Shiranui Skill Saga Supremacy. It takes at least 2 zombie monsters to make. Makes it to where your synchros can't be destroyed by card effects, and your fires can't be destroyed by battle. So basically, all of your Shiranui synchros are invincible. And then during your opponent's turn, you can target a banished zombie synchro and special summon it to your zone this card points to. It's decent, it's just a little difficult to make, because unfortunately the deck is kind of slow. I wish that it would get some more modern support to make it a little bit faster. Maybe in the future. Next, 2 copies of Doom Kaiser Dragon. So, you run this because the Shiranui Spectral Sword monster, I'll actually pull it up here for you. It says, banish both it and this card, and if you do, special summon a zombie synchro. Not synchro summon. So since it is special summoned from the extra deck, it actually circumvents the requirement for Plague Spreader Zombie. So yeah, so basically if Zombie World's on the field, we can just yoink one of their monsters from the grave. And we run 2 because this actually works on it being special summoned, so Zombie Reborn, banish 1 Doom Kaiser, revive the other Doom Kaiser. And then next, 1 Revived King Hades, and 1 Archfiend Zombie Skull. If you're not going to go for Doom Kaiser, but you're not going to go for one of your Shiranuis either, you're mainly going to go for Archfiend Zombie Skull, just for the card effect protection. I don't think I've ever had to make Hades, but if there's some sort of recruiter that you're having to deal with, then that is an option you can go into. Next, for the Shiranui Synchros, 3 copies of Samurai Saga, just because it's kind of a stepping stool. Because, like I said, your main tuner is the level 2 Spectral Sword, so you're going to want to have this readily available, so that way you can either put it in the grave, or you can use it on field as synchro material. Its on-field effect doesn't really matter. It's not really going to come up that much. But when it gets banished, you get to debuff one of your opponent's monsters by 500. Next, Shiranui Squire Saga. Running 2 of her. So basically, you can banish a face-up monster you control or in your grave, and then apply these effects based on what the monster was before it was banished. So if it's a zombie, all of your monsters gain 300 attack. If it's a fire, you can pop a spell or trap on the field. If it's a synchro, you can also destroy a monster on the field. So yes, these effects stack. So that's very nice. Nice little way to have some removal there. Next, 2 copies of Shiranui Shogun Saga. When it's special summoned, you banish a zombie monster from your grave, and it gains attack equal to that monster's original attack until the end of the turn. And then if this guy gets destroyed and sent to grave, you can return a banished zombie monster with 0 defense to the graveyard. So yeah, he can help push for some damage. And then finally, 2 copies of our level 10 Shiranui Sun Saga. So when he is special summoned, you can return any number of your zombie synchros that are either banished or in the grave to the extra deck to non-target destroy your opponent's cards equal to the number of returned cards. And then if a zombie type monster or monsters you control will be destroyed, you can banish a Shiranui monster from your graveyard instead. So yeah, that's really nice to just be able to stick something on the field that's hard to kill. So yeah, that's it for the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. I mean, the deck it's kind of unique in a way, because it's a zombie deck that actively wants to be banished. So I'm going to try to, I'll probably do, like I said, a 3rd Call of the Mummy, and then maybe a Foolish Burial, try to see if that works any better. Because I really like this deck. I think it's really cool, and I like the artwork too. But it's just a little slow, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to try to find some ways to speed it up a little bit. But once you can actually get it going, it's actually really, really good. It's just a really slow start. But yeah, like, subscribe, vote in the locals poll, all that good stuff. If you want to see a video of the deck in action, there should be a video on your left with that. So without any further ado, like, subscribe, vote in the locals poll, all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time.